Hey, what's up everyone? GameDad here, and I'm coming at you with another mod video. And today we are taking this old beat up looking Game Boy Color. It is a lime green Game Boy Color, and we are going to turn it into a Pikachu edition. Now, in addition to this, normally it would have this kind of lens on here, but it's unfortunately made of plastic, or like the plexiglass, so I don't know if I'm going to use it because my buddy Thor actually sent me a much nicer Game Boy Color screen that is actually designed for the LCD mod we're going to be doing today, and it's glass. So glass screens, they are much more crystal clear, and they don't get micro scratches on them like the plastic ones do. You know, this one, it does not have any of the Pokemon around the bezel, but this is an aftermarket shell anyway, so I don't know if I really care. We will decide partway through the video if that is going to happen, but we are going to take this Game Boy right here, turn it into a Pokemon Game Boy, and we are going to give it an LCD upgrade. Hey look, I have another screen in there that I'm not going to use. So we're going to upgrade it and put a little LCD action in this that will also have the ability to tap a little sensor and change the brightness on it. Now, if you want to find out if I went with the Pokemon lens or the glass lens, be sure to stay until the end of the video. That way you can see which one I decided to go with. But before we dive in, if you are new to the channel or you just haven't yet, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell. That way you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. All right, now let's crack this thing open and get it upgraded. All right, so here we have all of the different parts laid out. As you can see, I have that nice new Pokemon shell. It's got that yellow and blue. You got the red and green buttons on there. We have the screen mod kit for that LCD upgrade right here. And then I have the two different kind of screen overlays. One is the Pokemon edition, so it's got the Pokeball and the various Pokemon on there. Let's see, we got Pikachu, Togepi, and I think that's a Jigglypuff. So we got those surrounding the bezel on there. Or we have a generic one, but this one is made of glass. Like I said, haven't decided which one I am going to do. We're going to save that for the end, though. So if you think I'm going to do the Pokemon one, let me know in the comments. And if you think I'm going to do the glass one, let me know in the comments. And we will see who was right at the end of this mod. So first thing we need to do is get this taken apart. I have thrown some batteries in. That way you can go ahead and see just how awful it looks right now. We do this, and you can't see that very well. Okay, so we're going to turn this off, get the batteries out. And one thing that's kind of crazy about this is that will be, I think, lower than the lowest setting that the modded screen will actually do. So we're going to go ahead and handy dandy iFixit kit. Now this does use a tri-wing screwdriver, and it also uses a Phillips. So that's what's nice about the iFixit kit. They are not a sponsor, but they have pretty much everything you could ever need inside of this. This is the ProTech toolkit. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of these tri-wing screws. We'll see if I reuse them. They actually are pretty clean looking, but the new kit does come with new screws. So if you ever buy one of these kits to do a reshell or anything like that, that is available. So we have a total of 6 tri-wing screws to get inside of this. And luckily these are all the same size. I believe the Phillips ones on the inside are slightly different length, but that's all right. Keeps it nice and organized to be able to tell what is what. So we'll get all of these out. So you have 2 up at the top by the cartridge insert, 2 in the middle, and then 2 in the battery area. And this actually is a really clean shell. It is not a bad shell at all, but I don't really care for the standard colors. So we're gonna crack this guy open and make it not standard. So pop that off, there we go. We are done with that back shell. And honestly, I may actually just keep this shell. If I get a really junked out mod later on, I could always use the shell for that. So I'm gonna switch out my tri-wing for a Phillips, and right here on the board you can see that we have 3 different Phillips screws. We have one right here behind the battery terminals, and then we got one in the center, and then one off to the side. Now luckily this doesn't require any kind of other work. the board is actually really clean. I will probably take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and just clean up the contact pads a bit, but it is a really clean handheld. I don't remember if I cleaned this a long time ago or what, but I have had this sitting on a shelf for a long time and decided I wanted to upgrade it. So we'll get those 3 out of there. Then I'm going to use my tweezers, and I'm going to release the 2 pins that are holding down the ribbon cable for the screen. We'll just do that right there and pop that ribbon cable out. I could always save this screen in case I get something that doesn't work well later. And there you have it. We have the motherboard for the Game Boy Color, and everything else that is in here I am actually just going to leave in here. So this will just be another shelf or something else down the road maybe. And let's take a look at the pads. Yeah, so the little gold or brass contacts on here, they look fine, but I do like to make sure that they are extra clean. So we're going to use a little bit of this isopropyl alcohol. Normally this little thing works fine. It's almost empty, that's fine. This is a little pump, and it brings up the liquid from inside the container, so it's really handy. So we're going to go ahead, just clean these off. And since it's alcohol and not water, I use 99%. It will not damage these contacts in any way, but I do make sure to dry it. I don't want to leave a bunch of stuff there. We'll go ahead and clean off the speaker just a little bit. You can see where some dust was coming through the grill on there. So that's good. Let's see, anything else? We'll do a little bit inside of the switches here as well. There we go. And yeah, everything else actually looks really nice on this. Even the battery contacts are very clean. So this is actually a really great condition board. So what we're going to do now is set this board right over here for a moment, and going to take a look at all of this. So this will be the last piece that goes on. It's got a nice matching blue battery cover. We have the sticker that will go onto the back of it. And then of course we have, you know, the main event right here. And this is where everything for this new screen mod is going to fit in. Now for this screen mod, what we need to do is put something onto the back of it. It's got a giant bit of metal right there, and there are a bunch of little, I think these are, what would these be called? Capacitors, transistors, something like that on the back here. And they will end up getting folded over, and we want to make sure that nothing's going to happen to them when they do. Now there is a little piece of rubber here, which is nice, but you never know, something could happen, something could touch. So they do give you an extra little piece of sticky film right here, and this sticky film will cover this other area, and it will make sure that there is no metal on metal contact, because that would be bad. It would short it out, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to go ahead and stick that on there. There we go. Just smooth that out a bit, and now we have a nice little protectant on there. That way it will not have any risk of getting jacked up. Now, what we need to do is connect it to this actual chipboard right here. And it's fairly self-explanatory. The different sizes give you a good indication as to where everything is actually going to connect to. So we have our little tiny touch sensor right here. We're going to go ahead and flip up its little connector piece. And we're going to go pins down on this one. That way it gets a nice solid contact. And then as soon as that's in there, we smush that flat back down. It is not a pressure fit, so you do have to make sure that you actually sandwich it back down. I'm going to go ahead and open up these other flaps here. And now we need to get these other pieces all connected. Now this is kind of an adapter ribbon, if you will. This connects onto this main board, and that is what actually wraps up and around, just like where the other one just was. So we're going to make sure that we get this one plugged in, and looking at this, this will flip contacts up. So that definitely tells us that this should go in here. Let's see. So we'll go like this, and then we need to get this one connected. And this is where I was talking about the folding will come in. All of these slide in fairly nicely into place, and then you just kind of sandwich them down. And now, as you can see, this would definitely not fit within the system, of course. So what you do is you actually fold that up and over, and then you fold that over. And what's going to happen is this whole thing sits here, and then this will fold up into the actual connector so that it can actually connect. So we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and take our piece right here, kind of set this into place, and we will need to adjust it, but we'll just kind of get it temporarily set into place right here. That way we can get this actual screen bit, or this actual motherboard, ready to go. So we're going to do this, sandwich this, and this is a later revision of this mod kit. This is a revision 5, and the key difference in the revisions is actually this little touch sensor. It used to be that the touch sensor went right in front of the IR blaster right here, but they have since in later revisions moved it over so you can still get to it through the plastic. It'll still touch fine, but it doesn't block your IR sensor, so you don't lose functionality. So we're going to go ahead and connect that cable, and then we're going to sandwich those connectors down. It's the same ones we pulled earlier. We just kind of smush them down on each side. Double check. There we go. And then that will be ready to go. Before we actually push it all down, though, of course, we need to put in our buttons and our actual new membranes. So I just wanted to get that connected first. We'll go ahead and push that over to the side. And we're going to throw in our nice blue D-pad. Something very nice when you do mods like this, they take care to actually put the notches where they need to go. For example, on a D-pad, it's got a notch. There is a little post inside of here to ensure that you do not put it in the wrong spot. And that is the same thing with the A and B buttons. They put all the little prongs and tines exactly where they need to go. This one appears to have a little bit of manufacturing stuff left on it. Let's go ahead and take that off. Oh, almost. A little extra plastic on there from the process. So we'll throw the B button down where it's going to go. And they will only fit one way. So that makes it very nice. There we go. And then we'll put the A button in, drop that. Now the start and select, it is only a membrane. It is not a physical button. I mean, it's a physical button, but it's just a membrane over it. And then we'll go ahead and put this in here. Again, the holes match up. That way you can very easily just toss it in there. This also has some extra manufacturing stuff on it. There we go. Got all that extra out of there. So there is a large hole and a small hole here. That way you can line it up properly with the posts. And then we'll go ahead and get this other one in. Line these up. All right, now that those membranes are in, we can go ahead and flip this back over. The speaker drops right into place. And everything will just kind of smush down exactly where it needs to go. And then what I like to do is just get at least one of the little set screws in. That way the board will not be moving around while I'm trying to make minor adjustments. Let's see here, let's get that connected. I am reusing the original screws here. So we're going to go ahead and screw that in. And there we go. Now that won't move on me as I am adjusting. And as you can see, that screen is super crooked in there, so we definitely need to adjust it. Normally, I would say do not touch the screen because, you know, fingerprints and stuff, but I do have a microfiber cloth, so I'll be able to go ahead and get that all cleaned up before it is officially sandwiched in how I want it to go. So let's see here. Let's get this adjusted. I am using tweezers, but I'm taking care to only be on the outside of the screen. That way it doesn't get messed up or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and smush that down a little bit more. Now, one thing that they do give to help sandwich it, sometimes you may need this little foam pad. I typically don't like to use them, but you may. You never know. It might be something that you want to do. So this is giving me a little twisty trouble right here. And apparently a cat has come out here and is attacking my feet now and meowing at me, and my daughter thinks it's hilarious. One moment, everyone. Okay, so now that my oldest daughter has rescued her kitten from attacking my feet, we can go ahead and get this aligned. And one thing that is giving me trouble as to why it's not aligning, the little board is actually not going down into its little square behind here. So all I gotta do is get in there and push it a little bit, and it should fall right into place. There we go, we got one side of it. Let's get the other side. Just push that. And it should fall right into the molding of the plastic. There we go. That holds down a little bit better now. And then now when I move that screen, it's not fighting me as much. Now, definitely take care. Remember, it is an LCD, but it's just a higher quality one. But you want to make sure that you are not pushing down onto the screen because you could crack it, and that would just be bad news for everyone. Something else, if there are any little hairs, for example, if you have small children that have cats, make sure you get all the hairs out of there, because once you put the screen down, or the screen cover, it means that you would have to take apart the entire handheld in order to get back to a point where that hair and little dust bits and stuff like that isn't in there. So I have the screen where I want it to be. So what I'm going to do now is get the other screws put into place. That way this motherboard is held down firmly. Go ahead and screw this one down. So remember, you only got 3 of them. So we screw that side, push that one down in a little bit more. You got the battery terminal side, you got the opposite side, and then you got one dead center. Boop. Try not to drop your screwdriver like I just did. Let me screw that down. And then this kit also came with a nice new blue power switch. And you want to go ahead and put this in the proper way. It does have a little nub on it. That nub goes into the front part of the Game Boy. And that will be evident because when you put the switch in, it will actually surround the physical switch that is on here. Now, something cool that this came with also is instead of the shiny black IR cover, it actually has kind of a smoked gray one. So we're going to go ahead and push this down where it goes now. It just kind of slides right in front of that IR blaster. And if you do not have fat fingers like me, it will probably be a lot easier for you to do. And something else that will greatly help you in your quest is make sure that that IR blaster piece of plastic isn't going in upside down, because obviously that causes difficulties. Now we're going to go ahead and put this piece on, but what you want to go ahead and do is take care of this little piece right here. This does go inside the plastic, and it's going to be kind of just sandwiched right inside here. It's going to push into one part of the plastic here and then kind of be protected by this other one. You do not want it to be sticking out, because then the cable will get pinched. It won't work right. It won't look right. It'll just be ugly and it won't be a good time. So I've got that in the right spot. Going to go ahead and sandwich this down. There we go. Nice little bit of pressure fit there. Test the buttons. And everything is pressing nicely. Those membranes aren't getting all stuck down in there. Let's see, the wheel moving nice. The switch is moving well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put in a couple of these screws, make one final adjustment on the screen just to make sure it's nice and centered, and then after that, we'll decide on which cover we are going with. Okay, so now that all of that is connected and everything is back together, we're going to go ahead and put this back sticker on. Now, this is a generic sticker. It does not come with an actual, like, legit serial number or anything like that. Of course, that would be extremely dishonest. Now, not that I would ever attempt to sell this as anything but a completely reshelled and modded device, but there are people that will do that, so be on the lookout. If something looks brand new and it has a very generic serial number on it, odds are it is fake. So we're going to go ahead and slap this sticker on. Try to line it up nicely. There we go. Smush that on there. Okay, now, moment of truth. Are we going with the Pokemon one or the glass one? This one provides a little bit more clarity, and the screen size is actually more closely adapted to the screen mods. However, it's a Pokemon Edition one. I'm going with the Pokemon screen. I will save this glass one for another mod that's a more generic color. So what we're going to do is remove all of this sticker backing on here. So you got that one layer right there, and then you have all these other layers on here that need to peel off. So you just peel off from the corner. There we go. And what you want to do is there is another layer of adhesive that can be removed right here. You want to do that because otherwise you won't be able to see anything. If you're using tweezers, just take care not to scratch the inside of the screen. Speaking of, this is the point where you bring in a nice microfiber cloth. Something that will not leave lint behind, but also something that will not scratch your nice new screen, because that would suck to have a new screen and it already have a scratch in it that you cannot get to. Speaking of, here is another one of those darn cat hairs. Love those cats, but man, do they shed a lot. So we're gonna get one more little hair out of there. There we go. All right. And we'll wipe away any remaining dust. And then something else to do is also, even though it was just peeled, I like to make sure no dust attached itself to the inside of this screen, because that would be unfortunate. I don't want to take the whole thing apart. Now, from there, it looks all fogged and everything. There is one more layer to peel off, but we're going to go ahead and line this up. It will fit in there very nicely. And you smush all along these edges, get a nice seal in there, and there we go. That peel is done. We have a nice shiny new cover on there, Pokemon Edition. So let's go ahead and throw our batteries back in. And we'll put our cover on and power on. Look at that, significantly brighter, and it should, if you touch around here, there you go. So when this is completely off, it is about as bright as it was before. I don't know why anyone would want to play in that. So tap, nice bright screen, nice Pokemon Edition Game Boy Color, looking fantastic. Let's see if speaker still works fine. Let's see. There it is. So there you have it, everyone. That is a nice new Game Boy Color Pokemon Edition mod. We got that nice aftermarket shell on there. We got that nice new LCD screen. It looks fantastic, and this will see a lot more life now, and this will actually go up for sale at the next con with some other Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SP, different mods that I have done recently. I just did a Bivert kit on a Game Boy, and it had a nice black shell and stuff. So these will all be available at the next con that I go to. I think that's going to be the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo end of February. Now, if you liked today's video, let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell. That way you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. Also, if you like what I do here and you are interested in helping to support the channel each month, please be sure to hit me up at patreon.com/GameDadShow, where for as little as $1 a month, including other benefits, you will actually get your name in the end credits of every single one of my videos, like all the fine folks that you are seeing on screen now. Now, as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.